Comtech. Jan, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So why don't you give our audience a brief intro about yourself and what does Comtech do?
Yes, so first myself. I'm in the communication business for quite some time, worked with Alcatel in Europe, being into defense projects in satellite and space, in onboard space projects. Have been involved in maritime projects, minesweeping projects, sonar projects, a lot of things. In telecom, dimensioning telecom systems, terrestrial telecom systems at that time. Moving into really the satellite world, satellite modems, doing business development of satellite systems in the Middle East, North Africa, moved to Canada, continue to do the same thing in the satellite world. So a long history with a long experience in different types of the field, so to say.
Okay. I know tomorrow you have a presentation.
A short presentation, yes.
At the SAT Expo. But I had a few questions revolving around your topic. What are the benefits of leveraging multi-orbit satellite systems for connectivity?
Yes, so of course we have traditionally the what they call the geostationary satellites that are up there since the 60s basically, and mostly used for TV. That was the bread and butter of satellite world, the TV broadcast.
Yeah.
So then quite recent actually you got then the non-stationary satellites, the MEO satellites, medium orbit, or the low Earth orbit satellites. So that we refer to as the non-geostationary satellite orbits, basically. Yeah. That's the name of it. So there is more the networks become bigger, the satellite capacity is enormous that is up there. Of course, because we are consuming more data, and the customer is not interested anymore through what medium the data comes to his cell phone, basically, because we're all hooked to our cell phones now. It's just interested to receive the service at a good quality service at this medium, at this platform, being his cell phone at this time. So the combination of all these satellite platforms combined with terrestrial, because that's also it's going on. It's not only the satellite, but we are also bonding with terrestrial communication lines, talking about SD1 type of networks, where the best route is selected by the system depending on the application. Sure, voice applications require low latency and require the shortest possible route. Of course, a lot of other applications that we are using on our cell phones are less time critical. They can go over geostationary satellites or other means. So it is actually the offer that we now have in the satellite orbits that are available that allow these different services to take different routes over different satellites. And also the satellites still today can provide connectivity where there is no terrestrial infrastructure, and there is still a lot of areas where there is non-terrestrial infrastructure. Sure. Yeah. Of course, often also there's not that many people living there. There's always there's a trade-off or a compromise. So that is kind of what is happening. It's an offer, a multitude of applications. We have to be creative as the market is changing a lot. We have satellite operators that have been living from TV for 20, 30 years, but the last 10 years it's more difficult. So people have to be creative and have to come up with new systems. And of course, as the medium, the satellite spectrums and the satellite orbits change, also the ground segment has to change. And that's where Comtech comes in.
Yeah.
So we have flexible systems, not only for IP baseband systems, but also we cover the RF chain from antennas to the amplifiers and all that type. So almost you could say Comtech is a one-stop shop, basically, for that type of products.
So there's been quite a lot of innovation in the industry recently.
Yes, a lot of innovation. Of course, don't forget, when you look to the complete picture of the telecommunication market, satellite communication is maybe 0.5 to 1% of that.
Yeah.
Very small.
True.
So satellite developments are going on, but not at the same pace as in the let's say the mainstream communication markets. But it's going on, and the big advantage for satellite, it's now the 3GPP, the third generation partnership project that defines the standards for communication. That for the first time, satellite has been involved in that standard for non-terrestrial networks. So what you will see, not today or tomorrow, but at some point in the future, there will a convergence that also satellite will use the terrestrial communication means over satellite, so that you can have your phone connecting also directly to the satellite. So that is going to be the big change, that the user segment will be compliant with the 3GPP, 5G or 6G or 7G, whatever comes up. But that, of course, these networks in the air, in the space, needs to be fed, and that's going to be still the traditional SATCOM technologies that we know today.
Okay. How can NGSOs enhance connectivity services, and what are some challenges that we do face?
Well, kind of already touched a bit on that. So it's the coverage of areas where there is no terrestrial infrastructure.
Sure.
The latency issues are resolved for an important part by low Earth orbiting satellite networks, because latency and jitter and so on is an important element in quality communications. So that is being resolved by lower satellite orbits. So that is the thing. But of course, there is more and more LEO satellites that are up there, and still a lot of people are planning to bring satellites up there, but none of them are the same. So it's a challenge for the ground segment to be flexible enough to accommodate different type of satellite networks. And I think also there, with our software-defined architecture, we have proven that recently on OneWeb. We have created with our standard architecture we have that we are using for our standard geostationary satellite communications. We were able to also successfully implement networks over LEO satellites.
That's great to hear.
Yes, so that is the big point that I want to bring. It's the same hardware for geostationary applications can be adjusted to communicate over non-geostationary orbits.
Interesting. And I guess you basically answered my last question, which is what innovations are needed on the ground segments to provide.
Yes, it's the flexibility and the speed that you can develop and adapt to the new satellite environments. Some competitors are rethinking what is the next generation, and they are thinking, but there's nothing there yet. So we already have that there. So we are a step ahead, if not 2 steps, we believe.
Well, I guess you have to be like 2-3 steps ahead of your competitor to get that edge.
Yes, and the thing is, we have not a big team, but we have a very creative team that thinks out of the box. Because we had the DVB standard, which everybody follows to a certain extent, but then of course it is not always the most optimum implementation that the standard prescribes. So there we have done some adjustments, we believe, that are now beneficial to us, we believe as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jan, for joining us.
My pleasure.
It was great
Thanks
talking
for the opportunity.
to you. It's actually very informative. And anybody who wants to hear your presentation tomorrow, it's happening in the SAT Expo from 12:05 to 12:25.
Yes.
And good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Nice
you.
meeting you. Thank you.
Likewise.